Hey crochet friends, I'm Mo, your crochet companion, and welcome back to Layer and Play, the series where we break the rules gently, stitch with flair, and make every project as unique as we are. Today we're doing something a little different. We're not adding texture, we're not stacking stripes, we're letting the yarn breathe. This episode is all about creating negative space, aka those airy open stitches that give your dense textures and chunky rows a little room to exhale. Think mesh, think ladders, think fancy little windows for your yarn to peek through. We're balancing our bold moves from episode 1 and 2 with a little openness and flow, because even crochet needs a soft moment sometimes. Okay, so what are we covering today? We are covering what negative space actually means in crochet and why it's magical, how to crochet simple mesh and open grid stitch patterns, easy ladder techniques using chains and skips, when and where to use open rows for visual balance, and why mixing dense and airy rows crochet equal crochet harmony. Okay, so let's talk about the negative space. So when we are crocheting, obviously we are filling in negative space by creating the design. Now, the negative space is when you have an openness, and that's what we're going to be working with today. We're going to create an openness in our design that gives it a little bit of dimension, but also that negative space as well. So to start with, we're going to start with any base that you like. If you're building from episodes 2 stripes like myself, you're just going to add on to it. If this is a fresh start, you'll want to do a few rows of basic stitches first for contrast. So like for myself, I did a couple rows of single crochets. I can't remember if that was a double or a treble, probably a treble. And then I did some half doubles, some bobbles, and then some a couple more different rows, and then some popcorns. I am actually going to lay a little bit of a foundation here. I'm going to use my white just so I have a little bit of a contrast color here. I'm going to add my color here, or my white to my color. Just going to do a simple single crochet in each stitch across. Where's my stitch? I don't know where it is. We're just gonna make up something and put it right there. I don't know why that one was hiding. Don't know why that one was hiding, but it was. So we was playing peekaboo. Okay, one last stitch. We're gonna put it in here. Oh, well, we're gonna kind of do it a little wonky here. I probably should have started from that end, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Okay, so with the mesh, you can actually do all kinds of different things. It is a series of chains and skipping stitches and that kind of thing. So the first one we're going to start with is the single crochet and skip chain of 1. So just to get us started, I'm going to do a single crochet in that first stitch, and then I'm going to do a chain of 1. And then I'm going to skip the next stitch, do a single crochet, chain of 1, skip a stitch, single crochet, chain of 1, skip a stitch, single crochet, chain of 1, skip a stitch, single crochet. And we're just going to keep going that way until we get to the end of the row. And then we're going to finish with a single crochet. Now, the next one you can do is actually the chain of 2, which indicates it's a double crochet. So Since we're going to use that first one as the double crochet, actually, you know what? I'm just going to kind of throw a stacking stitch in here. I do have a video on stacking stitches, so if you want to know how to do that, you can rewind and go back to that. Okay, so we've got our stacking stitch. I'm going to do a chain of 2, and that's going to create our mesh. And I'm actually going to go, this is something up to you, whether you want to go into an actual stitch or go into the chain. I'm going to go into that chain and do a double crochet. Then you're going to do a chain of 2. You're going to skip 2 stitches. Actually, no, whoops, my apologies. I needed to do a chain of 2. Did I do a chain of 2? I don't know if I did a chain of 2. Chain of 2. Okay, we're going to skip 2 stitches and then we're going to go into this stitch right here. There we go. Because whenever you're doing this kind of a mesh, you want to make sure that if you're chaining 2, you're skipping 2. So 1, 2, and that includes chains, chain spaces. Chain of 2, 1, 2, oops, 1, 2, wait. Oh, that's right. It's going to be a little wonky because I skipped that one. Okay, so 1, 2 into that next space, chain of 2, skip a stitch, skip chain into the next stitch, chain of 2, 1, 2 into the next space, and then we're just going to do another double crochet in that last space. So there you go. Now you've got a different scenario for a mesh stitch. And you'll want to play with spacing. Maybe you want to do a chain of 3. Just remember that every time you do a chain, for every chain equals a stitch that you have to skip on the row before. So if I did, let's just do a quick example. So let's say we did, let's do a stacking stitch again. And this is like our previous video. This is how you want to create your project. It is any way you want to do it. Okay, so now we did our stacking stitch, so maybe I want to do a chain of 3. So with that chain of 3, I'm going to skip 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3. So then we're going to go into the next stitch. Ooh, that's going to be big. 1, 2, 3. So we skip 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. And you would do the same thing with if you decided you wanted to do 4. See how that worked out? It's actually kind of cool, but you're just going to be playing with the spaces. Like you can have a chain of 3, you can have a chain of 4. It's going to be wider, it's going to be holier. It's whatever you decide that you want to do for your project. I'm actually going to unravel that because I don't want the chain of 4. But that's just me. That doesn't mean that you don't do a chain of 4. I just don't want it for my little sampler. Alright, so next thing we're going to do, we're going to work with the ladder stitch. So the ladder stitch, we work with a base row of double crochet. So let's do a quick double crochet, row of double crochet. I'm going to do the stacking stitch again in that first stitch. And that's okay if you don't know how to do the stacking stitch, you can just do a chain of 2. Then we're just going to do a row of double crochet. So we're going to double crochet in each and every single chain, every single stitch. So this is almost kind of like filet crochet, only we're going rogue kind of deal. I'm setting y'all up for when I'm on teaching you how to do the Irish lace. That's going to be ways down the road, but this is kind of a teeny tiny introduction to both freeform and Irish lace. It's not the full-fledged thing, it's just a mini introduction. Because a lot of freeform is just making things up as you go, doing your own thing, creating whatever design that you want as you go. I mean, obviously you can do it so it's a specific pattern or a specific thing. So like a good example is that I wanted the stitches that I did, I wanted it to eventually end up looking like a turtle shell. So I created a design. I drew out a picture of a turtle shell and I kind of matched my stitches accordingly. Okay, so our base of double crochet is there. And then the next stitch, you're going to do a chain of 4. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, actually, we still got to do our stacking stitch first. Sorry. Still got to do our stacking stitch. So you always kind of want to have that first stitch to be a solid stitch. All right, so now we're going to do a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to double crochet in that next stitch. So it's a really, really wide pattern, right? And we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm not going to be able to do more than just those 2, obviously. And so I'm just going to do 4 double crochets to end our row there. All right, so the next stitch you could, so this is kind of like we're creating a ladder effect. So the next stitch we can do, say we want to do a row of puff. So even though we could just do a row of double crochets and then ladder into that, but it doesn't have to necessarily be. It's whatever you're gonna decide. So let's say we're gonna do a row of puff for texture. Oops. Do I remember how to do a puff? Apparently, just that fast I forgot. So we're going to do a row of puff. And then a single crochet or a double crochet in between. And you're wondering, how are we going to do that in a chain, right? I'm going to show you. It's a little bit trickier when you're doing it inside a chain, but that's okay. Whoops, that's right. I wanted to do that. So we're going to do a double crochet here in this first chain. Maybe. Why do I do this to myself? Oh yeah. Why do I do this where it's too tight for me to get my hook in there? There we go. Alright, so now we're going to go into that chain and we're going to do our puff stitch into that chain. Right into that chain. So you're just going to keep going into that same chain, just like you would a normal stitch. It's a little bit trickier. And then we're going to do a double crochet in the next chain. And so on and so forth. I'm not going to do a puff all the way across though. But, I mean, that's up to you. This is your project, and whatever you do is completely up to you. I'm just showing you what your possibilities could be. Alright, now I'm going to do a double crochet the rest of the way across, and then we'll stop and take a peek at our work. So as we were talking about the negative space before, oh, got some yarn barf going on. Anyway, as we were talking about that negative space earlier, this is what I was talking about. This is negative space. This is all negative space. You see how that kind of works together? So now if you're looking at this is going to start looking like a ladder if we are doing alternating a solid row with the mesh row. So it creates a ladder effect. And if maybe you don't want to do a ladder, maybe you just want to have it all mesh, you can do that too. And then we get to our open and close contrast. And this is something kind of like what we did here. So you can do like here, I did an open and then I did a close. And this is very similar to the filet crochet, in which you create a visual effect by open and closed blocks. But this is a little bit more free than filet crochet, because filet crochet is very stringent on what you're actually crocheting. You do the standard chain of 2, double crochet, chain of 2, double crochet, chain of 2, double crochet. You rarely use single crochets or even like the textures in it, the bobbles and the puffs and the pastries and oh my. Anyway, so I mean, like, maybe you want to do a couple rows of mesh and then you switch it up and throw some popcorns in there. Let's do another row of mesh. This is all about, you know, using your own creative vision and letting the yarn speak to you. So I just did a chain of 2 and I skipped 2. So this is more closely related to the traditional filet. Chaining of 2, skipping 2. That's a comfortable number for me. I don't have to count as much. Oh, I don't think I did that. I don't think I counted that one right. 1, 2, nope, I sure didn't. And then skipping 2, and we're gonna do a double crochet in those last 2 stitches there. And then maybe for giggles purposes, you want to change your color up. And then you can also use your variegated yarn as well. But let's say I want to do a row of single crochets, and then maybe I want to do a row of popcorns. This is what makes it your design. Now I'm lazy. I'm going to do a single crochet, 2 single crochets in the chain space instead of in the chain itself. If you were doing filet crochet, you would do it in the chain itself. There is no wiggle room. And I feel like being a rebel. I'm going to do it in the space. This is also sometimes how you do like doilies and, you know, those intricate lacy patterns as well. A lot of times you'll actually be doing a stitch in an actual space rather than in a stitch. I kind of like those patterns better because then you don't have to sit there and fiddle around with the actual chain and trying to crochet directly into the chain. I don't know about you, but I just find it to be ridiculous and cumbersome and all that good stuff. So, and then, you know, maybe you decide you want to do another row of popcorn. So let's do a stacking stitch. I love doing the stacking stitch because it makes your edges even. Alright, so I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I'm going to do, which way do I want it? Yeah, let's do it that. So all the bobbles and puffs and popcorns are all on the same side. And then skip one, except for that's really ungodly huge. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Actually, we're not doing 5, we're just doing 4. And we'll just keep doing that until we get all the way across the row. And I don't need to do the chain. Habits, habits, habits. Not necessarily good habits. One, 2, 3, and 4. All right, let's take a look at this here. I'm going to do one more and we're going to take a look at this and what it could look like. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and show you there. So that could be another row of popcorns, kind of like down here at the bottom here. Now, as we look at this, it's really not looking all that balanced, right? So it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Now, I would say this down here is balanced. I'm getting a little crazier up here, creating more of visual chaos. As you can see, we want to, well, not necessarily, just depends on what you want. If you're wanting chaos, then go willy-nilly and throw all kinds of stuff at it. But if you're wanting to have a visual balance, then do a row of popcorn. So do a row of bobbles and then do a row of open mesh work, and then maybe a row of double crochets to make it more visually appealing and balanced. Now, you notice how I don't know if I did my stitches wrong or something like that, but I kind of started tapering up a little bit. Sometimes that happens when you're doing fatter stitches, which are the texture stitches, and then going back and doing a smaller stitch. It kind of sucks it up a little bit, so you want to keep that in mind too. You want to make sure that your fabric is going to be straight up and down. So if you're seeing like what I'm seeing here, where it got kind of starting to get a little bit narrow here, maybe switch this up. Instead of doing a single crochet, do a half double crochet so that it's a little bit wider or it's more balanced in its structure. So I like to think of mesh as like a little black dress of crochet. It goes with everything. It looks fancier than it is. And if your last rows were a yarn sandwich, this is the lettuce, light, crisp, unexpected. And then space, it isn't empty. It's intentional, you know, the negative space. We're creating intentional interest in your project. And just like that, you've given your project some breathing room. Negative space isn't boring, it's balance. And now you know how to add it like a pro. Next time, we're shaping things up. Literally, we're playing with stitch height, short rows, and slants to create movement and unexpected flow. If this video gave you a fresh idea or a moment of, oh, that's how that works, hit that like button, subscribe for more yarny fun, and don't forget to ring that bell so you're here for the next stitch adventure. Until next time, stay light, stay playful, and happy crocheting.